Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikon here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And I gotta tell you guys, I've been getting pretty addicted to the sword and shield. There's a couple of reasons why that is, but as you guys know, my main weapon is the gun lance. As a matter of fact, the gameplay that you will watch in this video will show you that I still have a lot of practice to go through with the sword and shield in order to really get to a better level with this particular weapon. But as I was saying, the gun lance is still very much my main weapon, but the gun lance does suffer from a disadvantage to me personally, which is the fact that my favorite thing about the gun lance is shelling. So whenever I make a new build for the gun lance, I always end up going for 3-piece of Zora Magdro set so that I can get artillery secret and really maximize the damage of the shells. That's not to say that that is the only viable way to build for the gun lance. There's plenty of things that you can do with the gun lance that are viable and that are fun, but personally, to me, the most fun is always maximize the shelling potential on it. Do the big wyvern fires, do the big focus shots, just do all of the big damage through shelling. That's just my personal thing about the gun lance, which pretty much ends up really restricting me in terms of build diversity. I basically just like, oh, let's see which 3 pieces of Zora I'm going to use this time, and then try to get 2 pieces from another armor set to try to complement it to the best of my ability, and then come up with a build around that. And I wanted a weapon that kind of gave me a little bit more freedom in terms of the stuff that I could put on it in order for me to just experiment with all kinds of different stuff. And as far as I can tell, like, the most freeing weapon in the whole game is definitely the sword and shield, because, like, you don't need anything in specifically to make a sword and shield build work. You can just build around anything you kind of feel like. Having said that, this is still a build very much focused around dealing as much raw damage as possible. You could even call it an improvement on the previous sword and shield build that I posted on the channel, because you know, I took a lot of the feedback that you guys wrote in the comment section to heart, as well as I've been experimenting with a couple of different things, and I wanted to have a build for a weapon that I really like. And as you guys know, Ruinous Eradication is hands down one of my favorite weapons in the whole game, because it's a sword and shield, but essentially it's not really a sword, it's an axe. And I kind of prefer axes to swords as well as hammers. That's just kind of like my thing. So I figured, you know, let's do a build around this. Let's try to squeeze as much damage as we possibly can out of it, and let's try to give it a little bit of a twist with some of the skills that we put on here. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the build and give me some feedback in the comment section as well, because, you know, I like this back and forth that we always have whenever it's a weapon that I'm not as experienced as some of you other guys out there. It's always fun to discuss the builds and try to dissect them and optimize them to the best of our ability, while still, you know, achieving a little bit of customization with it. But anyway, we got the Ruinous Eradication on here. It's really a no-brainer. It's got a lot of raw damage. It's got excellent sharpness. It doesn't get to purple, but it does get a nice chunk of white, which basically is going to allow us to steer away from Master's Touch in order to get a couple of different things on the set. It comes in with 0 affinity, but this one's already augmented for 10%, and it also brings you a little bit of Elder Seal, which is useful if you're fighting Elder Dragons. Now, when it comes to augmentations on this particular weapon, naturally we went with an affinity increase because I wanted to crit more, as well as I want a health regen in there because this is a comfy build. So, let's get into things. When it comes to the decoration on the weapon, I put an Expert Jewel, and then when it comes to the armor pieces, we got the Golden Headdress Beta, which is Rajang's headpiece. And this actually serves 2 purposes in the build. For starters, it's an amazing friggin' helmet, but also I wanted to have a set that looked interesting. And this particular helmet also looks very interesting from an aesthetic perspective, as you guys can see, because then we filled the rest of the set in terms of layered armor with the samurai armor that we got from Cold to Roth, and it gives it a very distinct look that I really liked, so I kind of went with that. Then on that particular helmet, we're going to put a Challenger Jewel +4, as well as an Expert Jewel. Now, I know that not everybody's going to have the Challenger Jewel +4, but we are at endgame, so just do your best to try and get something similar to this if you don't have it. In the chest piece, we went with the Golden Loonmail Beta. I am going to be going 2-piece Gold Rathian. The reasoning behind it is because you guys know me. I'm pretty much a loose cannon. I like to take chances. I like to go balls deep against monsters, and a lot of the times that causes me to get hit. As such, I'm going to be trying to get that Divine Blessing level 5, even though I'm extremely unlucky when it comes to Divine Blessing, but I still would rather have it because it's also a good set. These are two good pieces to have with their slots, so I figured, hey, let's try to work this into the build. Now on here we have a Brace Vitality Deco. Naturally, this is only if you play in multiplayer. If you don't play in multiplayer, you don't need the Brace decoration, and this is pretty much a free slot that you can do whatever you want with it. Then we have another Challenger Jewel and an Expert Jewel. When it comes to gloves, we've got the Kaiser Van Bracers Beta, because naturally these are some of the best gloves that you can have. We have a Challenger Vitality Jewel on there, as well as a Phoenix Jewel. This is going to be the one thing you guys are going to be like, Phoenix? Why are you using Coalescence? I'll try to explain when we get to the final build. Just bear with me for now. Then we got the Golden Loon Coil Beta to get that Divine Blessing Secret with the Challenger Vitality Jewel 4, as well as a Critical Jewel 2. We got the Uruga Greaves, no surprises here. This is quite simply the best boots in the game. Expert Jewel plus 4, Critical Jewel 2, and another Critical Jewel 2. We wrap the set up with a Phoenix Charm 2, maxing out the Coalescence skill. And when it comes to mantles, we're going to be using Evasion and Rocksteady. And on the Evasion, we're going to be putting 2 Flawless Decorations in order to increase our raw damage a little bit more. Now, you guys know the reason I use Evasion Mantle is because you get invincibility frames whenever you do a little back hop attack, the charge slash. So if you happen to dodge the monster while you're doing this, you trigger the Evasion Mantle, and at the same time you're going to have additional damage from the Flawless. It's going to cause your shield downs to deal a significant amount of damage. And then the Rocksteady Mantle, you can swap this up for a Temporal if you prefer that, but due to the fact that we have Divine Blessing level 5, I figured, hey, let's just go Rocksteady, and that way we can tank stuff and we can just keep going. So, you know, that's pretty much the decision-making process there. When it comes to the finalized build, we have the Critical Eye level 7, Agitator level 5, Divine Blessing level 5, Health Boost level 3, Critical Boost level 3, Weakness Exploit level 3, Coalescence level 3, Heat Guard, Flinch Free, Peak Performance when Evasion Mantle is up, and Tool Specialist when Rocksteady Mantle is up. The bonuses are naturally the Gold Rathian Essence for the Divine Blessing Secret, and that is pretty much it. So I know that right now some of you guys are going to go like, why Coalescence? Now, the choice of the Coalescence skill is not the most meta thing that you can do in this particular build. So if you don't like the Coalescence skill, you can swap the Phoenix Charm for an Attack Charm, and this becomes a lot more meta because you always have the attack bonus of the Attack Charm, all of that stuff. But I like the idea of Coalescence because you still have some element in this weapon. You got 180 dragon damage. It's not much, but it's something. And Coalescence adds 90 dragon damage on top of that, as well as 18 attack on top of that too, which is a significant increase to your damage. And a lot of monsters have blights, like the Savage Devil Joe we're fighting is constantly giving us Dragon Blight, which we then have to heal. But when we heal that Dragon Blight, we're going to get a significant boost to our damage. So that's the reason why I chose to go with Coalescence as opposed to going with something else. Again, it's not the most meta thing, but I like the idea. I like the theme of the build. This is a build that allows you to be very tanky with a Divine Blessing, with 3 health boosts, and then on top of it, you can take those chances and they will pay off through Coalescence. Again, there's a bit of a theme here. It's not necessarily the most meta thing, but it's got its own quirkiness to it. And personally, I like it. I like it a lot. I've been having a lot of fun with this particular build. This is not the only build that I've been tinkering around with, but this is one of the builds that I'm particularly proud of because it uses a weapon I like. I gave the character a unique look because of the golden headdress, and at the same time you get all of these offensive skills as well as defensive skills to just go up against monsters, and you're going to be able to make some mistakes but still deal a crap ton of damage as far as I'm concerned. But what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys usually enjoy my videos, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, all of that good stuff. And if you enjoyed the build, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy the build, hit the dislike button. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.